Good afternoon. Sorry I'm late, but you know, there is regular time and then there's Chitwood time, which is always 10 minutes behind or 15 minutes behind. Thanks for coming, and I think that this is an important. It's important to point out in the very beginning that this is a joint investigation between the Volusia County Sheriff's Office and the Seminole County Sheriff's Office. You know, I don't think people really put a number to the impact that retail theft, organized retail theft rings have in America. You know, 2015, it's estimated that $30 billion was stolen from retail stores. And of course, the stores that are hurt the most, you know, the big stores like Walmart, Target, Publix, you know, they can kind of survive. But the smaller businesses, you know, it really eats away at their bottom line. In some cases, put them out of business. Another figure that we talked about was $1.6 billion in sales tax money that would be going into the states for different varieties of programs is also missing because of these effort of these knuckleheads. So what you have is we have Operation Blacklist. We had 5 boosters and 1 leader. The leader is Francisco or Frankie Mazzella. He is a career drug dealer, owns a construction company. He would give a list out to these boosters, who were mostly folks who were looking for a quick score for drugs, and they would hit Walmart, Publix, and Target. And based on what was ever on that list, they would go and swipe it and then take it to him, and he would fence it and give them the pennies on the dollar. And through great work with Seminole County, Walmart, their loss prevention folks noticed this on video, notified us. We were able to tie it in with Seminole County. And today they locked up 5 of the individuals that were responsible. There's one guy, Howard Proano, who is still on the loose. So we'll have a photo up of him, and we will ask everybody's help to make sure we get him in custody. You know, some of the criminal histories here on these guys are pretty extensive. You know, Francisco, who's been arrested back into the 2000s for selling dope. During the course of this investigation, they had 3 buys from him for coke and OxyContin. He's got a total of 18 arrests with 7 convictions, 12 misdemeanors with 5 convictions. His charges include possession of cocaine, trafficking in MDA, driving on a suspended license, burglary, fleeing and eluding, dealing in stolen property. So his bond is $140,000. So there's a lot of work went into this. And I'm going to turn it over to the chief and let him talk from the Seminoles end. But we're grateful for our partnership with Seminole and Walmart and the detectives here. You know, with all that's going on, you think, retail theft, you know, we have other things to worry about. But it just goes to show you that these guys, when a crime comes across their desk, they are going to investigate murder the same way they're going to investigate retail theft and give everything they have to make sure that these scumbags do not destroy the quality of life in our counties. Chief, I'll go this way.
Thank you all for coming today. And thank you, Sheriff. We appreciate the collaborative environment that we have here in Central Florida. We couldn't do it without our law enforcement partners, our retail partners, and of course those that are frontline and center at the problem of retail theft, and really what extends into far greater problems in our community related to drug abuse and things of that nature. So we're very pleased at the results of this operation. Roughly, it was estimated that approximately $360,000 and theft transpired as a result of the actions of this group, and that's what we know about. That equivalent is close to almost $10,000 a day in theft and shrinkage in our retail establishment throughout the Central Florida area. So again, on behalf of Sheriff Lima, we appreciate our relationship with the Volusia County Sheriff's Office. We still have some open investigations that we're still looking at in Seminole County, and we hope to bring those to fruition here within the coming months following today's events. So thank you all for coming.
Claire, I can see on your lips you have a question.
Would you talk about how far back this goes?
2013 is when.
I'm sorry?
2013 is when we believe this began. We began the investigation in October of 16.
Okay. But are the thefts part of their effort to get stuff, sell it for drugs, or are they reselling this stuff on the open market somewhere?
They sell it to Francisco, who then sells it out. Their job, they get the shopping list. They're the shoppers, they're the boosters. Their job is to go out, get what's on that list, and then give it to Francisco. And then Francisco sells it out on the streets. You know, unlike other organized retail theft rings where they sell it on eBay or Craigslist. Would it be fair to say that? Sell it on the streets.
What kind of items are we talking about, Sheriff?
You name it. It was ever on that list. Detergent, shaving cream, razors, soda, food, laundry detergent, whatever he gave them, that's what they would go out and get. You know, in a way, this reminds me of, if you remember I don't know how many years back, at the Sunoco gas station up on A1A and Grandview, where the guy would get all the guys, the drugs in the neighborhood, and give them a shopping list, and they would fan it over Central Florida, and every item in that store was a result of these boosters going in and stealing the stuff at the Targets and the Walmarts and the Publixes, and he would stock his store with the stolen merchandise.
So Francesco would pay his boosters when they brought back
Pennies on the dollar. You know, it's not like they're going out and stealing $500 worth of stuff to give them $500. You could rest assured they would steal $500 worth of stuff and you might give them $20, $25, just enough to get a hit. Or the fact that he's dealing dope, he's probably, I think it would be safe to say, is just giving him the dope sometimes as opposed to even giving him the money.
So back to the items. I mean, it sounds like stuff you would put in a care package to send overseas to a soldier or something. They weren't stealing big screen TVs and laptops.
They were stealing everything.
They were stealing bigger stuff.
If it was on that list, it was getting stolen. Electronics, food, health items, you name it, it was getting stolen. It was going to him.
How did you get turned on to this group? How did you come across them?
Walmart security had noticed the same individuals and then notified us, and the detectives picked it up and then was able to, you know, coordinate with Seminole and say, okay, wait a minute, this is a lot bigger than Volusia County. These guys are all over the place, and you know, a lot of work went into this on both sides of the coin. Seminole was actually the key to open up what transpired. So you might as well.
Right. I mean, our collaboration with the retailers at Target and Walmart gave us some of the information that we needed to identify some of these subjects. And then, in turn, we also collaborated with Volusia County and found out they, in turn, had the same exact situation going on in their county. So, and a lot of that just comes up with the identification of these subjects, their criminal history, their vehicle patterns, and things of that nature that we were able to develop.
Chief or Sheriff, where are these guys from? Where do they live?
Everybody's in Daytona. He owns a construction company in Daytona. This has been turned over to the statewide prosecutor, so we can prosecute because obviously we're crossing county lines with these guys.
Did you find a central location that just had boxes and boxes of material stuff stockpiled from what they were stealing?
He turns it over as quickly as he gets it is the whole point.
How were you able to determine how much that was, just from the stores?
We're determining that it was $10,000 a month, and it was around, as the chief said, $360,000 is the total, is what we're going by on what they reported. Who knows what wasn't reported to us in these incidents?
It could be much more.
This is only what's reported. You know, who knows how many times they got in there and they didn't get caught at all, or somebody else went in for them and we don't know it. They didn't get caught.
How many retailers were impacted?
It's Walmart, Publix, and Target.
We're talking number of locations, dozens of locations.
Walmart's in Volusia and Seminole, multiple Walmarts and Targets all over.
But in tracking back, you were able to say, we see these guys on surveillance, and it's about 10 grand a month. So you can absolutely say that for certain, much less when the cameras didn't catch them, right? Okay.
And Seminole said you're looking to see if they're connected to more cases. Volusia, are we thinking they could be connected to any open cases?
We're always looking. You know, these guys worked really, really hard with Seminole to piece this together with these knuckleheads. So, you know, there is nothing off the table. And a lot of stuff, well, I don't want to say this, but some of the stuff is they're actually telling us when they're in custody.
So they admitted?
Some of them have.
Are they family, the Blacks? They look like they all have the same last name, similar ages?
Brothers.
Brothers. Any idea how they're all connected to Francesco? Are they just, did you just pick them up, or from the selling of drugs? Is that how they kind of?
I would assume they live within a block of each other, so they probably know each other quite a while.
And he owns a construction company, and he's the neighborhood drug dealer. What better connection to find out what you need than that?
Any of the other suspects related to the three Black brothers? Are they cousins, or are they just acquaintances? The Black brothers.
No one else is related.
Okay.
Any other suspects?
The guy we're looking for is the guy on your far left, Pertello. However you say his name, Pertello.
Any other people you're looking for?
Everybody else is in custody.
So this is part of this is the ring right
Yep.
here we're looking at.
And I'm sorry, you said he's not selling online, he's just selling on the street?
Selling on the street. There's nothing indicated that he was selling anything online. Like some of the organized rings we deal with, they do. They get it out on eBay, they get it out on Craigslist, they put it out there and they sell that to get where the one question was whether they stockpile that stuff. This was just turning over.
It's just word of mouth, and
Yep.
you see, okay.
Yep. Well, clearly he was giving them a shopping list.
Right.
So he was taking the orders and then to have an envelope filled and then just get rid of everything you were ordering. Unlike the guy we dealt with in Daytona where everything was stockpiled in the store.
Sorry, specifically, how were they selling it on the street? Not like Soho style or anything, just word of mouth? They were passing it around? Okay.
Sheriff, do you mind going back real quick to pose so we can get down? These arrests, can you just kind of talk about the impact this has on these businesses and the Central Florida community?
Well, the first thing you want to realize is the easiest way to fuel any other crime is through retail theft. You know, in this case, clearly we believe he was fueling his drug sales through through these retail theft rings. So you have a drug dealer who he took off the street, you know, and obviously these guys, they're the only crime, they're not just out there as boosters, they're committing other crimes in our community, car breaks and burglaries. So the fact that you now have them in custody, it should alleviate both Seminole and Volusia should see a little bit of a break in the action. And plus, I'm sure we've gained some pretty good intel through the course of this investigation. But that's the thing to remember. Everybody says, you know, retail theft's a victimless crime. No, that money's going somewhere. You know, that money's going overseas. That money's used for terrorism. That money's used for drugs. So.
Thanks, Sheriff. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good job to him.
Jason, good job. You did a good job, Jason said so.
When Jason says